the meeting now, and please rejoin after it is connected. Yeah, now it is recorded. So good morning. So by today's class, we'll be learning unit number 3 in mobile application development, and we'll see the contents of unit number 3. So the first topic of unit 3 will be introduction of different data scheme persistence. Different data scheme persistence. Okay. Second topic would be shared preferences. Third would be file handling. Fourth would be managing data using SQLite databases. And fifth one is content provider, and then followed by user content provider. Last one is Android inbuilt content providers. So all these are the things that we're going to learn in unit number 3. So if you could see from the top to bottom or 7 to 8 topics, in this you could see we are going to full and full deal with the data part. What are the different data schemes are available, how that can be utilized in your Android. Okay, how the data can be stored, how the data can be retrieved, the data can be utilized in your programming part. Okay, so to handle this, what are the different content providers are available, and what are the inbuilt content providers are available, so how we are going to use all those. So these are the things that we are going to discuss at unit number 3. Okay, so this is what the basic introduction of the overview of the entire unit 3. So now we'll start learning the different data schemes. That is introduction to different data scheme persistence. Okay, so that will be our first topic of unit number 3. So persisting data is an important topic in application development, as user use the data sometime at a later stage. Okay, so sometime it might be useful for reusing at later stage also. At that time, what we need to do, I need not to keep on spending time at regular usage of data. So what can be done, I can store it somewhere, and so that can be reused whenever it is needed. Okay, so that we call it as persisting data, and we'll see what are the different types of storage forms are available and what are its uses. Okay, so Android provides several options for saving data persistence applications. Okay, so there are several options are available. So that is what we are going to discuss, and we'll see one by one. Okay, so the solution that is chosen will depend upon the specific need. That is, if you are going to be an application developer, sometimes you might be working with an application called Utterance. Sometimes you may be working with an application called Game. Sometimes you may be working with an application called Photo Manager, or a video editor, or an image editor, something. Okay, depending upon the need. Okay, as such as whether the data should be deprived of their application or accessible to the application, and how much space the data require. Okay, so based upon that only it has been designed. And what are the different forms of storage available? There are 4 different categories we can say. The first one is shared preferences, different forms of storage of data. Okay, first one is shared preferences. When I say shared preferences, okay, you can store primitive data on the key value pairs. Okay, store primitive data on key value pair. So key value is nothing but, for a value you will have a key. Okay, based upon that key you can retrieve the particular value. Okay, and that can be stored in a primary memory. That can be stored in a primary memory, or I can simply say that can be stored into the particular or individual app memory itself, the application memory. Okay, so which is important, that is storing the necessary data, private data, okay, based upon the key value pair. So that we call it as shared preferences. Okay, so how the data is stored? The data is stored in terms of key value pairs. So value is the thing which you are supposed to store, and that value will have a unique key. How you say register number, or how you say each and every home has individual key. Each and every room has individual key. If I want to enter into that particular room, you will use that key, right? Okay, that is the value. The value is nothing but the key. That is the lock and key. Okay, the key is nothing but the number. When I say the key, it is nothing but the number. For the particular key, you need to select a particular number. Only then I can open that, like that. Okay, so based upon that concept, it is a private data on a key value pair. Okay. Second one is internal storage. Store the private data in a device memory. I can store it in a device memory. When I say device memory, the phone or a tab or a laptop, whatever it is. Often we, for example, if I take a laptop, I store my laptop password, login password. That will be defaultly stored in the computer only. If I take a mobile, that pattern will be stored in the mobile. That is internal memory. Okay, like that. Internal storage. Third one is external storage. Store the public data on the shared external storage. All the public data will be stored into the external storage. For example, some video songs or music MP3 songs or some downloadable documents or editable files, whatever it is, that can be stored in a external storage, that is in a memory card.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in internal storage, private data, is the private data accessible to the user?
Private data is accessible only to the authenticated user. For example, if you are going to open that application, you may be okay. You may be protected. That, you may protect that application. If you could open that application with the help of the key values, you can access that internal data which stored into the application. Inside that particular application, without that application, you can't access that. Able to understand? For
Yes,
example,
sir.
if you are
Yes.
using a WhatsApp, okay, the content, if you could open that WhatsApp, you can open. Or if you could open that file menu, okay, you may protect that files. If you could open that file with the username and password or with some logs, then you can access that. Otherwise, it is not possible. That is based upon the security part. But here is that I'm talking about the storage part alone. I'm not talking about the security part here. How the data are be stored, how the data can be retrieved. That part I'm discussing now. Additionally, you can add security to the particular data. For example, if I use a WhatsApp, what happens? It will be stored into the WhatsApp. For inside WhatsApp, you will have multiple folders. For media, you have a separate folder. For recordings, you have the audio, video, you have some separate folders. All the data will be stored inside that. That part I'm discussing now. Okay. For that, if you want to have some, what to say, some persistence has to be implemented, that can be done. Persistence nothing but whenever you want to use the data often, and that can be implied to the data, and all those necessary data will be loaded inside your application folder itself. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to discuss now. And for that, what are the various categories are available? Okay, sometimes you may store it in shared preference, that is inside the app memory itself, or internal memory you can store, or you can store it in external memory, or sometimes you can also store it in the database also. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah, sir, but can you give an example for shared preferences?
Yeah, I'll show. That is what we are going to discuss. I will show with some pro codings, and I'll also show with I will some demo also. Okay, so
Okay, sir.
that we are
Okay.
going to discuss now. That I'll show now. That is what our second title, that we will discuss with some coding part as well as with some example we'll discuss now. So the
Sir,
third one would be, yes.
sir, your screen is not visible. I'm Deepak Swaminathan this side. I'm getting disconnected continuously, so I was not able to type it in the chat box as well. Now it's stable, but your screen is not visible. It just shows the presentation Prasad, and that's it. Nothing is visible on the screen.
What about
Again,
others?
It's
trying to
visible,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's
reconnect.
For us,
visible for
it's
me.
showing, sir.
Sir,
So
it's
there
We
is a
can.
visible.
network issue. I'm disconnecting continuously.
I think it is not problem with
Automatically
my
it is
side. I
getting
think so.
disconnected.
It is not problem with my
I've
side. I
tried
think.
for 4 to 5 times, but still,
Deepak,
again,
try
it's showing.
rejoining.
Yeah, please
Yes,
try
I
to
have done
rejoin.
that thrice or four times.
No, I'm using our college network only. I think that there should not be problem with my side. I think so.
Yes, it's
Please,
college ID.
can you please check again? What about others? Do you all can see my screen?
Yes, sir. It's very visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think he may try with some other strategies. May disconnect and re-log in again. So the third one would be the external storage, to store the public data on the shared external storage. Okay, like memory card, all those we can store. And fourth one is SQL databases, store structured data in a private databases. So that we call it as Okay, so that we call it as SQLite databases, the fourth one. So different storage forms. So this is the introduction part. So now in this, we are going to see shared preference alone. Okay, so before going to shared preference, we have some more basic concepts. So that we will discuss, and then we'll go to the shared preferences. So the data and file storage overview. It is general. It is also something related. It is also related to our introduction part. So I've added this. So data and file storage overview. So the Android uses a file system that is similar to disk-based file system on other platforms. Okay. So you know what is meant by disk-based file system. So that I'll show it in the image, which I have it in the next slide. Okay. So the people also don't know. We will come to learn what is meant disk-based file systems. Okay, so the system provides several options for you to save your app data. Okay, you can save your app data, working data that is catchy. Okay, whatever you frequently accessed, you store it for some time. Okay, that can be stored temporarily. Okay, so the app specific storage. Okay, first one is the app specific storage. Store the files that are meant for your app use only, either in dedicated directories within internal storage volume or different dedicated directories within the external storage. Okay, so that is what the first one, app specific storage. Okay, so you know that whenever you install, your application will be installed in the internal storage only. If you want, what we can do, you can move it to external storage also, but not fully. Partially, it will be moved to external storage also. That is what. Okay, so use the directives within the internal storage to save the sensitive information, and other apps should not access. So that whatever is sensitive, all this information will be internal storage, and the rest of the data will be at external storage. Okay, so this is what app specific storage. Second one, shared storage. Store files that your app intends to share with other apps, including media, document, and other files. So that we call it as shared storage. Third one, preferences. So store private, okay, primitive data key value pairs. Okay, so third one is preferences. You store privately, okay, for the particular application, primitive data key value using key value pairs. Okay, so that is the third one, preferences. For that only, I said that now we are going to see the code, that is shared preferences. We are going to see the code, and then with the help of an example, I'm going to explain that, and then we are going to see a demo also. I said third one, shared preferences. And the last one is databases. Store structured data in a private database using a room persistence library. That is, there are many libraries are available. Okay, with the help of that, you can use that, or you can store that. Okay, so that is not that this part we are not going to discuss, but understand there are many libraries are available. Okay, one thing is the room persistence available. That with the help of that you can store. And since we see the phone categories, right? So the system provides several options for you to save the app data, right? I said you that the system provides several ways to store your app data. That is, we've seen these four categories. So we'll see the characteristics of these four categories. If it is an app-specific storage, what is possible, what is not. For shared storage, preferences, and databases, we'll discuss it. Okay. So the characteristics of the character of these options are summarized. So what we see now, there is the first one is app-specific files. Okay, the type of content what will be having, the file meant for your app use only. App specific file is, it is for your app use only. Okay, this can be accessed from internal storage, from external storage. If you want to access from internal storage, I'll be using these methods: get files directory, get cache directory. For external storage, I'll be using these methods. This will be helpful for programming part. Okay, and permission needed. Never needed for internal storage, not needed for external storage when your app is used to devices to run on API level 19 or higher. Okay, and can other app access? No, since it is for your app specific file, other apps cannot access. And files removed on app uninstall. Okay, yes. If you uninstall that, the removed files will also get uninstalled. Coming to the next one, media. Okay, second one is media. So type of content you have it can be images, audio files, or it can be videos. Okay, and the access methods are media store API. With the help of this API, I'll be accessing this particular media file, and you can also read. Okay, read, read external storage, and also you can also write external storage. Okay, and coming to can access other app, yes. Through the other app need read external storage permission. With the help of this permission, it can access the images, files, and videos. Okay, it will send a request method called read external storage. So if you allow that permission, read permission, okay, then the files, videos, and images can be accessed with the help of this method. And files removed on app uninstall. No, if you uninstall that particular application, the files will be available in the secondary storage or primary storage wherever you keep. You uninstall only the app, not the data which you store, like images or audio or video are not going to uninstall. You're going to uninstall only the application alone. Okay, so that is the second one, media. Third one is the document and other files. Third one is document and other files. So other types of shareable content, including downloadable files. Okay, and the access method is storage access framework. Okay, storage access framework is used for accessing these documents. And permission needed? No, no permission is needed. Can other app access? Yes, through your file picker. Using the help of file picker, you can use these documents which are available in the particular content, and sorry, particular location, not the particular content, particular location. Okay, and files removed from an application on uninstall? No, just only uninstall the application, not the content. Okay, and fourth one is app preferences. This is the fourth one, app preferences. I said it is using key value pairs. It uses the key value pairs. Okay, and access method. So Jetpack preferences library. So based upon this library, you are going to access this key value pairs. Okay, and permission needed? No. And can other apps access? No. Okay, it can other app can also cannot access this particular key value pair, that is which you store in your internal memory, which is a private memory. In that private memory only you can access, or other apps cannot access that. Okay, and files removed on uninstall? Yes. If you uninstall that, entire content which is stored into related to the particular application will get uninstalled. And the last one is the database. So it is a structured data. Okay, so it is a room persistence library. With the help of this library, you can access the structured data, and no permission is needed. Can other apps access? No. Other apps can also cannot also access this. And if you uninstall, the data will be go off. Okay, because you are going to store inside that database only. You are going to store inside the database only. You are going to store in terms of rows and columns. So once you delete the particular table or a particular row, automatically the data will also be deleted. That is what the meaning in a database. Okay, so that is what the different content, different files, app specific files, media files, document and other files, app preferences, and databases. Okay, so we'll see in detail now. So the solution you choose depends upon the specific need. So we have the solution. We have five different types. Okay, in this five difference, you are going to choose according to your need. Okay, you want kind of application, and you need to store it in a database, or you need to store it as a media. Okay, you need to give some app preferences like key value pair. Okay, or it is kind of like a document. Okay, you are going to decide what kind of input you need. Okay, so how much space does your data require? Okay, it depends upon your need. That will vary. And how much space does your data require? So the internal storage has a limited space for application specific data. So use other types of storage if you need to save a substantial amount of data. So that is one option which I could suggest you. How much amount of internal memory it is needed, that depends upon the application and then the data which you are going to store. Okay, and how reliable does the data need to be? Okay, if your app basic functionality requires a certain data, such as when your app is starting up, okay, place the data within the internal storage directory or in the database. So whenever it is needed at the startup, just you can place it in the internal storage memory itself, and the rest of the content can be moved to the external storage or into the database. From there, you can easily fetch. Okay, and third one, what kind of data do you need to store? If you have the data that is only meaningful for your app, use app specific storage. Just now we see an app specific storage, right? This one, app preferences or app specific storages. Okay, so for shareable media content, use a shared storage so that the other app can access the content. If it is your media, you can use the shared preference storage. For structured data, use either preferences or key value data. For structured data, okay, either use preferences or database. Either thing you can use it. Maybe you may store username and password. If you are going to store username and password, you can use the key value data. Or if you are going to save some other additional information like employee ID, date of birth, something like that, you can use the database of a particular row or a particular key. Okay, for the data that contains more than 2 columns, you can go for database. The thing is, you can use database when you have more than 2 columns. So it is adjustable. Okay, and should the data be private to your app? Okay, when storing the sensitive data, the data that should be accessible, that should not be accessible from any other app. So use the internal storage. Okay, preferences or the database. So the internal storage has added the benefit to the data being hidden from the user.ing hidden from the user. Okay, so the best thing is use the internal storage. If you are going to make it as private, so you store it in internal storage under your own application data, so that it will not be misused. Even it is not accessible any other application also. Okay, so this is what the introduction for. This is what the introduction for the basic different types of data streams and the database systems, and what are the different storage forms available, and what kind of storage can be used for what purposes. Okay, so this was the basic introduction and its characteristics, what happens to a particular type, okay, how it is being accessed, what kind of permission is accessed or given or it is denied. Okay, so all this we have studied now. This is a basic introduction for the different kinds of storage. And next one, we are going to start learning the shared preferences. Okay, shared preferences. So one of the most interesting data storage option is Android provides it user shared preferences. So since it is quite new, that we'll learn now what is meant by shared preferences. So it is a way in which one can store and retrieve a small amount of primitive data as a key value pair to your file on a device storage, such as your content can be a string, or it can be an integer or a float or a boolean. Okay, that make up your preferences in a XML file inside an app on your device storage. Okay, so the key value pairs, the key is nothing but it is a unique name which you are going to give, and your value can be it can be a string, or it can be an integer, or it can be a float, or it can be boolean. It can be of any type, true or false. It can be yes or no pattern. Okay, like that. It can be some default values. Okay, and it can be stored into an XML file. And the shared preferences can be thought of as a dictionary or a key value pair. We'll see some examples. We have many examples. We'll see. So for an example, you might have a key being username. Let us consider the key which I'm going to use a username. So this just for you to understand what can be your key. So it is like username. Okay, for the value, for your value, you are going to give the key as username. How you say register number for your register number. Okay. If I'm going to ask a particular person X, what is your register number? That register number is the key, and you are going to say value for the register number. You are going to say the value for the register number, like RA10 something, right? So that is the value, and the key is nothing but the register number. Like that, this username is the key, and the value is your input, your individual unique input. Okay, you might store the username, your user's username, and then you could retrieve it by its key. Okay, here the key is nothing but the username. Okay, you can have a simple shared preferences API, so that you can use to store preferences and put them all back when it is needed. Okay, so the shared preferences class provides an API for reading, writing, and managing its data. We have individual class providers API. So with the help of that, what we can do, we can read it, we can write it. Okay, all this can be done. So we'll be seeing all this now. So how data can be read, how data can be written. So what are the methods we are going to use? All this we are going to see now under shared preferences. So this is what the example I would like to show you. So under shared preferences, I showed that a disk storage. Okay, so your input would be like a key value. Okay, using that method put string, you'll be setting some key, and for a particular value. Okay, for a particular value, you'll be setting some key, and that will be applied. And when you apply, what happens? It will be stored into the internal memory of a particular application. Okay, so which is needed, which will be stored into the internal memory, and the rest will be moved to the disk also. Disk is nothing but some secondary storage also. Okay, so this is what the chat preferences. And for example, let us take this is the main activity. This main activity is nothing but your front screen, and let us be your second screen. Main activity can be your first screen, and the second activity can be your second screen. Okay, for example, you type your username and password. Type your username and password, and you put save or you put next. What should be done? So here, text username is my key. Text username is my key. So with the help of okay, this text username key, I can retrieve the value. So what value you are going to give? For example, if I'm going to give some username, it can be like a Gmail username, or it can be like some application username. Like that, I'll be giving some username. For that, you are going to set the key here. Okay. So when you save it, what happens? It will be stored into your internal memory. That is, we call it as a shared preferences internal memory. And whenever it is required, what happens? From this memory, it will be fetched. From the memory, it will be fetched. Okay, it is not that always it is here. In some cases, you can also use the database content also, database also. Okay, so when I click load here, what happens? It will automatically fetch the username which you already stored into their internal memory, as well as the password. If you want it, this can be defaultly loaded when you say load. Okay, so this is obtained with the help of get method. You can see get here. With the help of this get method, you will get it all the information from your internal memory. And if you want to store it, you can store with the help of put method. Okay, this can be stored into your internal memory using put, and it can be retrieved with the help of get. So this is one example. We have another example also. Okay, to make you much understandable, I have another example. I have a video example. I'll just play that video also. So those who are not able to understand with the help of this example, if you see that video, definitely you will understand better. Okay. So the chat preferences is suitable in different situations. Can be used in different situations. So what situation? One situation we see now. There is one situation in which I'm going to use the chat preferences. I can also use the chat preferences in many places according to the user. You are going to decide how the chat preferences are needed. Okay. So for example, when the user settings need to be saved or stored data that can be used in different activity within that app. Okay. So when the user settings need to be saved, you want to save the user settings. Okay, or to store the data that can be used in a different activity within a particular application. So all are possible, and all will be stored into the particular stored preferences. So like how we simply say login when you are going to work with the Microsoft Windows. Okay, you are logging in. Either you may log in as an administrator, or you may log in as a guest account. Okay, you may log in as a guest user also. Even if you take your Android mobile, you will be working with the developer mode, or you may be working with the normal mode. You can also work with some recovery mode also. There obviously what happened, the preferences varies. That will be, all the information will be stored inside your internal memory only. When you log in with the normal user, what happens? When you work with the developer modes, what happens? When you work with the recovery mode, what happens? All these are some different preferences that you apply for a different mode of operation. Okay. So as you know, on pause will always called before your activity is played in a background or destroyed. So on pause, that we've seen in the life cycle itself. In the blast unit, we've seen in the life cycle also, life cycle itself. So when on pause is called, what happens? Okay, it will be placed in the background, or it will be sometimes destroyed too. So for the data to be saved persistently, we prefer saving it in, that is saving it on pause, which could be restored in on create for an activity. So with the help of these methods, we are going to write our program. With the help of this only, we are going to write our program. Okay. So we'll discuss in program part. Okay. So the data stored using the shared preference are kept private within the scope of your application. Okay. So I already said in the beginning, it is kept private. So it should be within your scope of the application, not out of your application. Okay, if it is WhatsApp, your scope should be within that WhatsApp alone, not outside the WhatsApp. Okay, even a single company may have multiple application like Facebook, WhatsApp, or a single company. If you are going to allow permission, that data can go from WhatsApp to Facebook or Facebook to WhatsApp. Okay, even though it is in the same company, that application will have their own scope. Okay. So, however, shared preferences are different from activity instance states. Okay, so how to create your shared preferences? So, so how to create your shared preferences we'll discuss. So in order to create your shared preferences, so first thing is we need to create our own shared preferences per app. For a particular application, we will create our own shared preferences file. Okay, so it is automatically created. It's not I'm going to create. So name it with the package. Okay, name it with the package name of your app, unique as easy to associate the app. So while programming itself, it will be automatically done. Okay, when a new app is installed, automatically what happens? Okay, a shared preference will be automatically created with the help of your package name. Okay, while designing a particular application, so they may use the package name for your application. Like either you may use a bank like SBI as your one application, or you may use your SRM application somewhere in your mobile, like that. Okay, so whenever an application is designed based upon the package name, and shared preferences will be created automatically. Okay, so when you want to use the values, okay, you call get shared preferences method when you want to go to get the values. Okay, the values can be get with the help of get shared preferences method. Okay, with the help of this method, you can use the values. So the shared preferences provide modes for storing the data. Okay, and what are the modes is available? Private mode, public mode. Okay, there are many other modes that's also available that we'll see now next screen. Okay, we have public mode, private mode, and append mode. All this we'll discuss. Okay, so the shared preferences provide modes for storing the data. Either it can be private mode or public mode. Okay, we are either in this case it's two, but actually we are three. So here is an example how it is work. So public abstract shared preferences. Okay, get shared preferences of you have two arguments here. One is string name and second one is int mode. You have two arguments passed here. So this method takes two arguments. So first being the name of the shared preferences file. What is the shared preferences name? And other is the context mode. In which mode you are going to operate. There is int mode is nothing but some values. One, if I'm going to say one, it may be private. If I say two, it may be public. Like that, which mode we are going to use. And we need to give the name as well as the mode for the input. Okay, so this is how the simple example, one line statement I was shown, but I have a full program. We'll discuss in that also. Public abstract shared preferences, give shared preferences of some arguments. We need to pass in this way. So this is how shared preferences can be created. Okay, and we can also use any one mode according to your usage. Either it can be private mode or it can be public mode also. Okay, so as of now, any doubt? We are moving into some examples now. So we have some examples here. So we have some examples, step-by-step examples. So we'll discuss it later now. So, till that, any doubt? Till this, is there any doubt for you, or shall we proceed?
No doubt, sir.
Okay. So talking about the different modes, we have three modes: public, private, and append. So when you say it is a public, we'll take the public file which could be accessible by other applications in your device. Okay. So when you say private, it is obviously known it is a secured user data. When you say append, used while reading the data from your shared preference file. So when you want to read it, what you will be using? You will be using append. Okay, append, usually append is nothing but getting added. So, but here when you use the append mode, it is used to read the data from your shared preference file. We will be using append mode. And apart from reading, what we have public and we have private. Okay, so we can also have nested cluster of shared preferences. See, this is something advanced, but I think I know need of this. Initially, we can learn up to this. We also have a nested class of shared preferences also. You just know we have some nested class of shared preferences also. Okay, and methods of shared preferences. So all these are there are about 11 methods we have in our shared preferences. Okay, so you need to understand while you go for programming, you need to know what are these methods and which method is called for which purposes. You need to know. So contains string key. So this method is used to check whether the preferences contains a preference. Okay, just to check whether your preference has some preference or not. For that, for that to check, we are going to use this method, first one. Similarly, edit. So this method is used to create a new editor for those preferences. Okay, for that we use edit. Get all. So this method is used to retrieve all values from your preferences. All values for your preferences, we are use get all. And get boolean. Get boolean, we are having two arguments. One is string key and one is boolean default value. So default value we are going to set. Initially you will not set anything. So after you logged in, you are going to set some default value. Okay. So this method is used to retrieve a boolean value from your preferences. Okay. So why I say this is, so initially when you are going to install an application, there sometimes there might be an default value which is assigned by the application itself. And some cases after you install, okay, you are going to be the user for the application. So once the user give the preferences for the first time, it will be defaultly stored and it will not ask you for the second time. Okay, for the first time it may ask you. Once you close and open your application for the second time, it will not ask for the this kind of default value. It will automatically take from the preferences what you selected. Okay, and then get float. And also we have a string key and then float default value. So this is how we need to give the inputs. If it is going to be a boolean, this is the way how we need to give input. If it is going to be a float, how we are going to give the inputs. Okay, so like that integer, how the input can be given, long integer, how the input can be given. If it is going to be string, how the input can be given, string values, a string set of strings. Okay, how the input can be given. All these are the methods of giving the inputs or setting the there is a setting the preferences. Okay, and register on shared preferences change listener. Okay, so this method is used to register a callback to the invoked when change happens in a preferences. Whenever change happens, so this method will be called. Similarly, unregister. So this method is used to unregister a previous callback. Okay, so just quite opposite to 10, point number 10. Whenever there is a change, you will call the point number 10. Whenever you want to revoke, there is a unregister, you will be calling the point number 11. So all these are the methods that can be used in your shared preferences. Okay, so we'll go to the programming. So here is an example how the persistence is persistence with shared preferences. So how first thing we are going to write shared preference. How to write a shared preferences? How to write? We are going to write something to a shared how that can be done. So for storing the data into the shared preferences, you will be writing in this way: shared preference of shared preferences equal to get shared preference of the key value and then the mode. In which mode you are going to give us the input? Either mode is private or mode is public, or it is okay append. Which mode you want, that will be supplied. And create an editor object. To create an editor object, you will be using with the help of shared preference editor method. So that's now we see now. Shared preference editor. For that you create an object. Okay, with the help of that you call the editor. Okay, and storing the key and its value. If you want to store the key and its value, okay, as a data fetcher from the edit text. So as I said, right, when you are going to open it for the first time, you need to type for the first time, because you are going to give the preferences, because they don't know what is the input that the user will give. So it will be empty. For example, like edit text username. Say let is a username. You don't know. We seen in the previous diagram, right? Like this here, username and password. You don't know what is the username. Previously, we don't know. While you install the application, it will be blank. While you install the application, it will be defaultly blank. Why? Because application is installed for the first time. And once you give the username and password, it will be obviously set from the second time onwards, because you give some preference like save this into a local drive or in a local internal memory. When you open the app for the second time, what happens? Username will be automatically taken. In some cases, if you allow, password will also be automatically fetched, or only username alone will be stored and password you need to give whenever it is required. Okay, so like that you can save your preferences in your internal storage. Okay, so that is what the third, storing the key and its value as a data fetcher from the edit text. So here what is done, name as well as age is as per this example. Okay, name is one thing fetch, and second one is age. Age is the second thing which is fetched from the text editor. So once you have done the changes, once the changes has been made, changes has made is nothing but now you enter your input for the first time. Once you enter the input, what happens? It is for the first time you changed it. Okay. Once you change it, what we need to do? You need to give commit option, commit method. Once you give the commit, what happens? It will be saved permanently. Once you give commit, what happens? It will be saved permanently, and whenever you open the application, it will be called back again and again. So that I'll be using at last commit my edit dot commit. Okay. So this my edit is nothing but this object. You can see in the second line this edit object. So with the help of this object, I'm going to save it. Whatever editing you want to do, read or write, you will be doing it, or simply write, you will be doing it. For reading, you have append mode. This is for writing. Whenever you want to write something, with the help of this object, you are going to write, and dot commit is nothing but you are going to save permanently in your drive. So for that, you'll be using this. Okay, and how to read it. So now we've seen how to write, and next one is how to write the content. Sorry, how to read the content. Now we are going to see. Okay. So for reading the content, shared preferences object is equal to get shared preferences. This is the method, and this passes two arguments. One is the string, another one is the mode in which you are going to read it. So to read it, as we already said, it should be read with append mode. So that is mode underscore append. Okay, and so for the first time, so the value will be default as empty string, because for the very first time when your app is open, there is nothing to show. So it will be always empty, as I shown in the previous diagram, right? Username and password. It will be empty initially. So it will be null. So once it is read, or once you gave the input and made it as a save or logged in, automatically what happens? That information will be stored into your memory, and from the memory it will be loaded for the second time onwards. And this is the part, okay, you can use the data. This is the part from which you can use the data. That is name dot set text of s1. When you say s1, what happens? For the first time it will be null. For the second time onwards, what happens? What data you typed here, that will be sent here. Same way age. Same way age. Initially it is 0. For the second time onwards, whenever what input you give here, that input will be automatically loaded here. Okay, so this is the way we need to read the data from the chat preferences. So we have an example. So the coding example. Okay. So before we go to the coding example, I'll show you the demo how it works. Okay. So I have the example for the XML file. So this is an XML file. This XML file, what it has. So it has the two edit text. Okay, it has the two edit text boxes. Okay, and we are going to give input to this text boxes, and then we are going to see how the shared preferences is going to work. Okay, so this is what our demo. So for that, yeah, XML coding is this, and this is the Java coding. Okay, this is the Java code, and that is the XML code. And now we'll discuss how this is done. For example, so I have created an application, like shared preference is my application. Just I'll run this. So let me see how it is going to work. Okay. Shall we proceed? I'm going to run this application. I have created an application like shared preferences. I have pasted it on my home screen. So let me run how it is going to work. So we can give some enter username. And we can give some input. Some age can be given as the input. Okay. So this now I have given the edit text. Under edit text, we gave the username and password, some age. When I open it for the second time, you could see the same preferences. If you edit also, what happens? That edit will be restored. That is read method. Okay. So now what happened? Now the name is changed to Simon. From the previous, the name is changed to Simon. So now what happens? When you close and open it, automatically this preference will be saved it. Okay. Previously it was something new, something different, Pratik. Okay. So after what you do? If after you close this and open it, same Pratik will be loaded. If you want to edit, you can edit. No problem. Okay. If you close and open, now Simon will be at the top screen. So this is what your preferences. Both read and write is possible. Read is also possible, write is also possible. So as per our example, we have one label here and then 2 text boxes. That's it. No, nothing more than that. Okay. Is the video visible to you all? Whatever I played. Is the video visible to you all? Whatever I played
Yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So this is what we call it as shared preferences. So for that, we have this coding part for XML code. So we have the text view. Initial text view, we give some input, basic input like shared preferences. That is, you can see here, shared preferences demo. So this is the text we give as the text view, and we have edit view. Under edit view, we are going to give it for your name. Enter your name and enter your age. So this is the 2 edit view. That is only thing we have it in XML layout. Okay, in this XML only these 3. One is text view, another one is edit text. This text you are going to give a name. Okay, and coming to this coding part. Okay, we are going to use this as I already said you right, we are going to edit name and age. Okay, inside that we are going to use the saved instances set. Okay, so we are going to read and as well as write based upon the get chat preferences. So when you say read mode, so you can where you could see my shared preferences comma mode as append. So I'm going to open in read mode. Now I'm going to read. Initially it will be null, and after that what happens? When you give input, automatically it will be loaded. Okay, so this is what for reading. Okay, that is fetching the stored data on resume. You know that pass and resume. Or resume is nothing but when it comes to foreground. When you're going to open it, it will be it will move from resume. When you're going to close it, it will go to pass. Okay. So this is the pass method. When you say it is passed, when the user closes the application, on pass will be called and the data will be stored. On the on pass, what you do when you are going to close it, all the preferences will be stored and it will be stored in the private. Okay. So this is what the usage of on pass as well as on resume and how this read mode as well as the write mode is done. Okay. So then this is a simple example or a demo for the chat preferences. Hope it is understandable what is shared preferences and what is the use of a shared preferences in Android. Yes? Is it understandable? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I think that we can wind up our class today for today. So we have seen 2 topics today in our class. So we discussed the introduction to different data scheme, what are the different data schemes available, and also we discussed regarding the shared preferences also. What is meant by shared preferences, how to read and write using the shared preferences, okay, how to edit, all these we have discussed with some examples for shared preferences. Okay. So by next class we'll be discussing regarding file handling. Okay. So if you don't have any doubt, you can just enter your register number in your chat box and then you can leave, no problem.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Sir, last date to submit assignment.
I have given in the Google Classroom itself. You can